starters, is going to be a bunch of animals that would be unique and integrated, and could be potentially integrated into the game at some point in the future. And this is a long list. Hold on. Okay, there we go. So first is first up is the Plateosaurus, which is a species of prosauropod from, I believe, the Triassic period. Obviously, integrating the start of the sauropod lineage would be an interesting concept, especially since they would be smaller than their giant relatives. And honestly, would be another interesting Triassic, more importantly, the first herbivorous Triassic animal to be integrated into the game, because the only other two Triassic animals we have are Herbivosaurus and Steelophysis, both of which are carnivores. So next is, we have Protoceratops, one of the smaller species of ceratopsian, relatively sheep-sized, and have actually been called the sheep of the Cretaceous, would be an interesting addition to Jurassic World Evolution 2. Another, on that topic, is we actually have two other species of ceratopsian dinosaur, two that are smaller anyway, is we have Psittacosaurus, the frillless quilled relative of the Triceratops, and Zuniceratops. Moderately, a little bit bigger than Protoceratops, but has horns, whereas Protoceratops lacks horns altogether. And we actually have we got something similar to the Compes-ish, and that is the Mononychus. Which is a very small animal and would actually be another good creature for the new insect feeders. Oh, hello, cowboy. So, right now, oh yes. Next is the largest species of dromaeosaur ever discovered. One of the largest is Utahraptor. I have honestly requested this a bunch in the forums and on Reddit, and honestly, I personally would go for a Utahraptor. Just because we have multiple of one species doesn't mean we can't have more. And this one is a little bit different in the regards to, say, herbivores, because the next one is Shantungosaurus, the largest species of hadrosaur dinosaur ever discovered, in which, quite honestly, is near sauropod size and puts Tyrannosaurus rex to shame. Next is Irritator, another species of Spinosaurid, because we have three species of Spinosaurs: Spinosaurus, Baryonyx, and Suchomimus. So for this next group is we've got, I'm actually going to run off the same species type, like of the family tree, but we've got Tenotosaurus and ornithopod, most likely iguanodontid dinosaur with an incredibly long tail that was potentially used for defense. Camptosaurus, another member of the Morrison formation, related to Dryosaurus and obviously Iguanodon, and Leonosaura, another ornithopod like Dryosaurus, is a much welcome addition to Jurassic World Evolution 2. Next is Ampulosaurus. You can't go wrong with more sauropods, especially considering that this one might actually have like heavily armored osteoderms along its back. Or I could be thinking of Saltosaurus, but I think the points still stand. Gigantoraptor. The supersized version of Oviraptor here would honestly probably also feed from would also have an omnivore, or rather would be an omnivore similar to, again, Oviraptor. Lambeosaurus, a species of hadrosaur that had another unique head crest. Next up, we've got Ionosaurus, Cosmoceratops, and Diabloceratops, all late Cretaceous, I believe anyway, ceratopsian dinosaurs with all unique types of headgear and horns. Ionosaurus has the curved hook horn. Diabloceratops actually has Cosmoceratops and Diabloceratops are actually very difficult to explain, but if you find them on, like, if you Google them, you'll see what they look like and you'll see why it's hard to explain. Stegosaurus and or Praenocephaly would be much welcome additions to the game, considering that, much like Spinosaurids, we have very little in representation of the group, except for like the 3 that we have. Sauroposeidon, a incredibly large species of sauropod dinosaur that a lot of people, again, much like Utahraptor, would request. Eustraptospondyls, made famous by walking with dinosaurs. In the 3rd episode, I believe, it was The Cruel Sea. It was a good documentary, but more so to the point, would be another welcome mid-sized carnivore. And on top of mid-sized carnivore, we've got the Nanosaurus, the polar bear lizard, another species of tyrannosaur to the game, but more accurately, a mid-sized one. We've got representation for the tinier tyrannosaurs, more Australopithecus, and the more larger scale being the actual T-Rex. Miragaia, the species of stegosaur with the longest neck in comparison to its body for an herbivorous dinosaur that is not a sauropod. Rugops, an abelisaurid dinosaur native to Africa millions of years ago in the Cretaceous that shared its environment with Spinosaurus, and would actually having a brain malfunction, would actually probably be considered a scavenger class creature because fossils show of Rugops blood vessels, if I remember correctly, were too close to the face and does not enable the Rugops to have a powerful bite. Therefore, with the large carnivores in the region, enabled it to scavenge if and when necessary. And on the topic of large carnivores, we've got Torvosaurus, Mapusaurus, and Gorgosaurus, sharing the realm with Daspletosaurus, which could also work in the game. Gorgosaurus would be another more famous North American tyrannosaur that could be introduced to the game. Torvosaurus was actually the top predator in, I believe, depending on the species, was either in the Morrison Formation, present with Allosaurus amongst other predators, but also in Portugal. And Mapusaurus. Theories have popped up suggesting that this large carnivore was a pack hunter. So, a social large carnivore, not just in the standards of Rexes or Gigas, but something that could actually live in a group the same way a pack of raptors could, would be interesting to see. Megarosaurus. A result of island dwarfism, this is very small by sauropod standards. Because believe it or not, it's actually relative to the Argentinosaurus, one of the more larger species. But again, if you don't know what island dwarfism is basically dependent on the amount of predators, food source, and space, or rather, instead of food, let's just say resources, depends on how big or little an animal gets. And for the state of Megarosaurus, obviously to turn a Argentinosaurus-sized creature to nearly the size of a small horse. You know the island's tiny. Pelecomimus. I know we just got Dinosaur as another member of the ornithomimid group, but again, much like the Pachycephalosaurs and the Spinosaurs, we need more representation in the group. Guanlong and Nanotyrannus, species of the Tyrannosaur lineage. Again, there's a lot of Tyrannosaurs here. One of the earliest ancestors was either the Dilong or the Guanlong, the crowned dragon from Cretaceous China. So let's just say Asia to simplify it. Now, why do I add Nanotyrannus, even though it's been proven, as much as I hate it, that it's basically a juvenile T-Rex? Well, let's ask ourselves for a second, why is Pachycephalosaurus, Dracorex, and Stygimoloch all in the game when it has been debated, and more than likely, probably the case, that they are all growth cycles of one dinosaur, being Pachycephalosaurus? So if we can have the three life cycles of one dinosaur count as three separate dinosaurs, then I'm sure we can have Nanotyrannus. Shunosaurus. From the Well-Armed Pack, if you remember the videos I did yesterday, the Well-Armed Pack introduced Shunosaurus, a sauropod with an ankylosaur-like tail club. It's the size of a saurus, also from the arm to the teeth pack, from, again, the concept video I did yesterday, or the day before, which was I believe an ornithomimid type dinosaur with buck teeth, so it might have behavior similar to a rabbit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and let's be honest, we both know I'm going to go right back to this as soon as this stops. But comment down below which dinosaur you want to know more about. I will explain it in detail, how it could properly be integrated into the game, like how many could it make, or how many, its social number, its likes and dislikes, its needs and all that. And I will see you guys in the next one.